We're going to test this. We are going to test this GL. We're going to test one that's been put in freshly, and then we're going to test this guy here, which has been there for over 10 years. And it should be that this one will hold more weight than the one down below, because it's grown in. It's actually encased inside the tree now. So it has more contact area. The wood has got more contact area with the GL. So there's more surface area that the GL will has more wood to compress. So it should hold more force. Well, we haven't done this type of test on this before. Before we always tested it to failure. What do you call it?
We're looking for elastic and plastic deformation limits. Not
elastic and plastic deformation limits. So we're going to do the old one, which is grown in, and the new one, which has just freshly been put in.
Very cool.
And it's, you know, you would think, and hopefully it shows that the new one, the old one holds more weight.
Right, because it's been grown in.
Because it's been grown in. All right, I need a big wrench, a pipe wrench, or a big crescent wrench. See those pieces in there, the two extensions? Yeah, those two. Bring it on up here.
You gonna take it off?
Yeah, he won't let me cheat with it.
Cheat?
Yeah.
All this trouble to get it, you know, it's got to be good.
Might need a BFH. And some WD-40. And the big pipe wrench, yeah. Maybe a crowbar. There you go. Do that. There it comes. Here it comes.
All right, victory.
Gotta cut it loose.
Okay.
Whoa, look at that. Pretty, pretty. Holy smoke.
That's favorable. So
Y'all should see this.
Well, my theory is that the one that's been there longer will be stronger. That these fasteners get stronger over time. There's a shot of this over time. It started out looking like this up here.
comparing old installation to new installation, so that's our differential data, and each one will be done the same way, looking for the elastic and plastic behavior of the wood itself.
Just the wind is changing this.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You can watch it just going with the wind.
It is a windy day, yes.
Yeah, that's the difference in strain between here and here.
Yeah.
This point of contact here, relative to this point of contact here, is changing 3 or 4 thousandths of an inch with the wind. There's that much strain in the tree.
Now you take that over, 47 feet. It's,
You got a real number at that point.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta cut holes in your roof.
So that's how much the tree's moving right now.
Right from here to here. It's flexing that much.
It's doing this much strain movement.
Wow.
Which makes our measurement taking a little difficult. Stop. Okay, so that's 40 thousandths of an inch, and we're reading 1950 psi, and we're going to see if it comes back to 0. 42,000 final. Okay, we're going to go right to 50. Okay, we're going to go let it back off and see if it comes back to 0. I'm guessing we're about 2 to 1 on the geometry. Oh, look at it. Still takes strain. So that's 65 thousandths.
It went up to 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 peak.
Yeah.
So let's see if it comes back. Okay. Maybe 1,000th we'd call plastic. And we'll do it again to a higher number here. So we can push a little harder. There's 75 thousandths, and it's a true 2,000. We keep coming back to that number. So if we look at these other charts, we can find one real quick that's 2,000 PSI, boom. We got about 12 thousandths plastic deflection, pushing it to 72 thousandths or whatever the number was, 75,000. Yeah, exactly. At 1,000 PSI, we've got 40 thousandths deflection. And there's our 50. There's 75, we're going to go higher. 2,400 at 85. What we're doing is we're pushing on this assembly, reverse of how it was loaded for convenience, and we very accurately measure how far it bends and where does it come back to when we take the force off. And that return to zero or near zero is a critical piece of this information, because that says at some point we're crushing and it's not recovering. So we want to kind of look at where is that point, and we determined on this one it's about 4,000 pounds of load starts to develop the incidence of crushing that will then require the tree to recover. It's not the limit of the fastener, but from a code perspective, that's a nice safe number that they like.
And did it recover back to zero?
Not when we pushed it to 4,000 pounds. It was about
3.5.
Yeah, and then the last one we did, it stayed all the way out here at about 25,000.
Yeah, now
And half of that would be back to there. So you could argue that the root of the system on a controlled crush against the support sleeve or collar is probably based on the geometry twice that number. So now the really interesting part is we go down and do the same thing on the new one. And that'll tell us if, in fact, the reactor wood around this fastener has increased the strength of it.
Tell me what you're looking at.
We are looking at the differential movement between this contact point and this fastening point. So over this length, the tree is straining 5 thousandths of an inch in the wind over about a foot.
Go back and forth.
Okay, we'll get our first load up.
But I think this whole thing reckon is nice.
So we're only about 1,000 pounds. So we're just going to let off and see. Okay, we're still only about 1,000 PSI.
Okay, just
So we're going to see where it comes back to.
okay. Then let's shut it off. So we're free. So yeah. Just
So,
set it on the pump.
2,000ths. 2,000ths plastic at 50 thousandths elastic. 1,000 PSI. 1,750 PSI at 72 thousandths. 1,750 PSI at 100 thousandths. 7 thousandths plastic. Okay, we got 2,000 PSI at 125 thousandths elastic.
Okay.
Okay, and again, 7 thousandths again plastic.
Okay.
2,100 at 150 thousandths.
Okay.
And that time it's back to zero on the return. So I think that's enough data to figure it out. This thing is about 1/3 as stiff as the other one, but with this much deflection, it'll take the same load. So it's working against the compression grain, and if as that hardens in around how much we crushed it, which is Yeah, we probably crushed it. Well, we'd add up the plastics, 30 thousandths or something total. So that would be the part that the compression wood would have to come in and fill that gap that we've just created. But it still gives us that same PSI as we got at the other one. But the other one didn't really show any more plastic deflection. Essentially none for a few thousandths. So we're picking up, as we repeat the test, we're picking up more and more and more plastic deflection into the socket in the tree.
Right, but it's not. But it's coming back. It's coming back more because
Each time it was pretty consistent. Each time we loaded it that high, more than 100 thousandths of movement against it, we'd lose about 7 thousandths each time. So we ran the test 4 times, so we lost about 30 thousandths, and that's where we'd say we don't want to crush any more than that.
Okay, I see. All right, and that was we did get more up there, but
At one point we got 2100 psi. Which
here
on this one.
on that one we got like 24.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably push this one, but we're crushing.
Right,
so
right.
when that one heals in, it's probably good to go.
Okay,
So that it kind of confirms the basic premise.
but I mean, does it say that one's holding more, or about the same?
Well, they're real close to the same design load. That would say that, this would be derated around the 30 thousandths if we calculate it all out. It might be, somewhere around 3,500, 4,000 rated load, and that's with no safety factor.
Right.
And then it's also going to say that if it gets that kind of load and not an enormous crushing in non-savable load, it's going to keep adding the reaction wood around it, and it will pick up additional capability.
Okay, which this one shows that it has picked up. It did do.
Because it came back much closer to zero on the returns with the same load.
Okay. All right.
So we just proved what we hoped.
That they get stronger over time.
Yes, right. As long as the tree is healthy and doing what trees are
Supposed to do. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, tree. I'm not going to have to cut you down.